Can you send me a list of beginner marker recommendations? If you're brand new to Copic Markers and have no idea where to start, it seems smart to research and find starter marker recommendations from online experts, people who look like they know what they're talking about. But I've noticed a big problem with many beginner marker lists. And today, I want to give you better starter recommendations for blue, blue-violet, and purple Copic markers. Before we dive into the deep blue sea of cool colored markers, let me warn you about the mistake that so many beginners make. And I totally get it. We're kind of conditioned to see a box of anything, and we assume that box sets offer the lowest price per unit. I mean, we don't call it the economy box for nothing. And it used to be that way with Copic, once upon a time. But the big Copic sets are not the bargains they once were. Open stock Copics. Open stock means buying individual markers. Open stock markers, they're always on sale somewhere. There are some online retailers now who always sell at the sale price. They never charge regular price. So open stock sale prices are lower than the economy set discount. You're not saving money buying a box. Actually, you'll be spending more money than you expect. A lot more. Because here's the blue markers that you'll get in a set of 12. 2 almost identical blues, plus a light blue which doesn't blend with either of them. Here's the 2 blues you'll get in the set of 24. It's a medium cyan, an almost violet blue, and a light gray blue. Ew! Here's the 5 blues that come in the set of 36. These 2 blues are almost the same color. This one is almost the same as that one. And they bonus you with a very light and a very dark blue, which don't blend with any of them. The sets of 72 aren't much better. The C box only has 2 blues in the whole entire set. See, you assume that the nice folks at Copic spent lots of time giving you boxes full of pretty blending combinations, when really, they're just a jumble. Any blending combo that you find in a box set is almost always an accident. I bought a set B, and you would think with 72 markers I could have colored something. But no, I immediately had to buy a bunch of open stock markers to make blending combinations for everything in my box. The only thing worse than spending a small fortune on a box of markers is having to spend a second fortune to use your box of markers. 10 minutes after you open this box, you'll be back online shopping for more markers to go with this mess. Okay, I admit it, I'm not a big fan of the box sets, but that's only because I think it's wrong to screw over your brand new customers. I know, call me crazy, ethics and stuff. So instead, maybe find out what other marker artists and influencers are using, because if we buy the colors they use, maybe we can color just like them? Well, not really. See, when you're a beginner, blending is kind of hard, but you're taking advice from someone who can blend anything, anytime, anywhere. The markers that I use every day will frustrate people who have never touched a Copic marker before. It's not fair to hand you a list of difficult markers and then make you feel stupid for not being able to blend. And I don't think they mean to be mean, but a lot of recommendation lists are not level appropriate for beginners. I want you to succeed. I don't want you to get frustrated and quit markers. So here's my test for beginner level Copic colors. First, I avoid the staining colors. We tend to think of alcohol markers as all the same kind of ink, like this one is tinted blue and this one is tinted purple, but it's all basically the same stuff inside. Not true. Both of these markers say Copic on the outside, but the inks inside, they're totally different. It's like you and your brother. You're similar, but you're not the same. And in every family, there's one stubborn person who won't play nice with anyone. That's a staining marker. Staining inks grab onto paper fibers and they refuse to blend. Until you have a lot of Copic experience, staining markers are always going to be hard to work with. And here's the thing about beginners. You don't know what you're doing yet. So when a marker doesn't blend, you just assume that you've done something wrong. But sometimes it's not you, it's the marker. I see a lot of staining Copics on beginner marker lists. I think that's cruel. Now, Copic has fewer staining colors than other marker brands. That's part of the reason why Copics are more expensive. But some colors like pink, red, and today we'll be talking about purple. So red, pink, and purple are always more staining, no matter what brand of marker you're using. In general, I avoid staining colors for beginners, and I try and warn you when we have no choice but to use a staining marker. Learning is easier with easy markers. Okay, we want non-staining colors. I also try to recommend stable colors. Some markers are made with a mix of several ink colors. These mixed markers, they can do funny things if you blend it with the wrong color. And keep this in mind for today's video, because today's color families are full of mixed colors. There's blue ink and there's pink ink in this marker. But there's also blue ink and pink ink in this marker. And there's at least 3 ink colors in this marker. Usefulness is my third factor. Copics are expensive, and some of you are starting from nothing, so I want every marker that you purchase to be a color you're going to actually use. Copic makes a lot of B markers, and you don't need them all. Heck, I don't need them all. Here's the other thing. Your marker collection should cover the things that you like to color the most. If you only color flowers and food, you may not need blue at all. I actually had to go out of my way and use a photoshopped flower to teach a blue floral class. I don't need blue as much as most people. I don't want you to waste your money on markers that I love, but you'll never use. Okay, so let's start with the blue family. Bs are the biggest family of colors that Copic makes, and it's even bigger if you consider that the BGs are all greenish blues and the BVs are all purplish or reddish blues. That's a lot of blue markers. It's far more than the average person needs. With blues, we talk about green shade blues and red shade blues. Basically, these blues over here, they lean closer to green on the color wheel, and these blues lean closer to red. And in Copic, these are very green shade, and these are very red shade. Let's move them aside and just look at the true blues. But it's not that easy. Even inside the B family, we can separate the blue blues into green shade and red shade. The Copic Bs, they are not arranged very well. They're all over the temperature map, and this leads to depth and dimension problems when people start inventing their own blue blending combinations. Many colorers accidentally blend cool blues with warm blues, and it flattens out your coloring. I want to help you avoid that problem, so we're looking for a middle-of-the-road balanced set of blues. Nothing too warm and nothing too cool. The B0s are green shade, very green shade. B0s often look aqua or turquoise when you thought you were using blue. I don't like teaching with the B teen group. I think they're a handful of random, unrelated blue markers that kind of got shoved into the same group when the guy at the factory got frustrated. They don't blend as well as related blues really should. The B20s are ultramarine, and they're the classic textbook example of a red shade blue. So right there, I'm telling you that the B20s don't look great when you mix them with the B-teens or the B-zeros. The B40s are red shade. Lonely Little B52 is green shade. The B60s are so red shade that they belong in the BV family. And B79, that's another one of those only child markers. She's definitely red shade. So this leaves us with two families to choose from, and they're both in our sweet spot with a very balanced blue temperature. The B30s and the B90s. And honestly, I think you could choose either group as a beginner. In the end, I decided to recommend the B30s because the B90s are a little bit on the murky side. They're noticeably muted, almost grayed blues. So I recommend that you start your B marker collection with B32, B34, and B37. But I'm a really big fan of B99. I use it so much more than B39, so I added B99 to your list, giving you that classic night sky navy blue. This 4-blue combination is full of easy blending markers, and together they create the perfect generic blue which you can use on everything from summer skies to blue jeans. Psst! Just between you and me, I would go ahead and splurge on all of the B30s and the B90s. I could live off of these two blue groups for decades. Okay, so you may have noticed that there's two other blues on my printable starter list. Wait, you don't have my printable list yet? Check the resource page for this video, link down in the description. I've got details on how to download and print this list for free. Anyway, there are two more blues on my list. What's up with that? Well, I know some folks will look at B32 and call it a medium blue. You're going to want a lighter blue to go with it. And here's where all the Copic fans will automatically recommend everyone's favorite Copic blue, Boo, or B00. Copic sells a ton of Boo markers. Everyone loves B00, except me. Look, I know there's some rule that when you want to add a lighter marker, but Copic doesn't make that lighter marker, like here, we would need a B31 or a B30. Well, the rule is just to jump over to those sub-zeros and use them. That's a dumb rule, and here's why. Remember a few minutes ago when I broke the B family into warms and cools? And I told you that the B0s are green shade blues and that they look aqua or turquoise next to real blue? Well, here's what happens when you're coloring along with the normal B30s and then you add Boo. Yes, it's lighter, but you just introduced a lot of aqua to your blue blend. And as a matter of fact, I'm doing just the thing I warned you not to do in my blue peony project here. I didn't use any BG markers on this flower. All of that turquoise and aquamarine, it's Boo. This is what happens when you put B0s next to red shade blues. Anyway, since Copic doesn't make a B30 marker, I'm giving you the next closest thing. Try B41. Use B41 instead of that greenish Boo marker, please. And there's one more light blue on my list, B60. But here's the thing. I didn't put this marker on your list with the intention that you would blend with it. I mean, you could add it to the end of your B blending combination, but if B00 leans too green, then B60 definitely leans too red. So why is this marker on your list? Do you ever plan to color anything white? Copic does not make white markers, so the way to color something white is to leave the white of the paper showing and then just shade it with a gentle, shady color. A gentle, shady color like B60. Honestly, folks, this marker is one of my most used markers, and it's totally beginner friendly. It's hard to find a project where I don't use at least a little B60 somewhere. I don't just shade white things with B60. If I'm coloring something light pink, mint green, pale lavender, or really any pale pastel color, I often underpaint with B60 to make the shade color. I also think B60 is an easy marker to teach people how to make cast shadows. B60 is like the Frank's Red Hot of the Copic world. I put that on everything. Now let's talk about BV markers. Periwinkle is the most common name for the BV color family. Periwinkle is that kind of weird color of blue. It's the one that people argue over. It's blue. No, it's violet. No, it's blue. No, it's violet. Copic split the baby and they called this family Blue Violet. Now, I happen to love periwinkle, but I'm going to be honest with you. If you're trying to save money, you can totally get away with skipping all of the BV markers. It's the smallest Copic family. Most people don't even realize that periwinkle is a real color. And if you have the blue and the violet families covered, nobody's ever going to notice that you're missing the BVs. And it hurts my heart to say this because I really enjoy this color and I personally use it a lot. But as a beginner, you probably won't. So skip the BVs until later. And then when you do get some, start with BV01, 02, and BV04. Psst! Here's a little teaser for my next video, because when I talk about gray markers, I might just refer back to the BV family. But that's another topic for another video. And now we come to the V family of markers. You raving purple fans have been waiting and waiting for me to discuss your favorite color. And I'm sorry, but here's where Copic is going to disappoint you. Copic makes 358 colors, and of all the color groups, purple is where they fall flat on their face. There's a big hole in the Copic rainbow here. I don't know, Copics are a Japanese product and maybe there's a cultural thing there about purple. But I do know that purple is a very difficult color for art supplies. Even with all our modern technology, we still don't have the ability to duplicate the entire purple spectrum. All paints and all inks have very small purple sections. Maybe the ingredients just don't exist for Copic to make good purple markers. They only make 18 V markers, and most of them are really more pink than purple or violet. Which isn't surprising because there's some pink ink in every V marker. Be careful when you're blending anything V. If you oversoak the paper, these markers will split apart and they will leak pink ink. Okay, so back to the beginner recommendations. We really don't have a lot to choose from in the V family, so I will just suggest the one group that doesn't glow and it doesn't look like the color of the dust in your vacuum cleaner bag. V12, V15, 17, and V09. I wish I could give you better purples, but until Copic releases new colors, I've got nothing else to suggest. And by the way, word on the street is that Copic has no plans to release more colors, so that purple gap is not going to get filled anytime soon. So here are my beginner recommendations for blue, plus those extra 2 blues. Blue Violet, but remember, you can wait to buy this group until later. And then the best of the Itty Bitty Violet family. If you want the full printable marker list or more information about my Blue Peony project, see the resource page for this video linked down in the description. And for my recommended green markers, watch this video here.